You're welcome back from that feature on skill development for national building. And in the studio with me is Mr. Solomon Ajodo. He is a youth advocate. You're welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. God bless Nigeria. To graduate and create jobs. And so there was a disconnect. So it is a time for a reawakening for Nigeria and particularly for the Nigerian youth. And we are elated that Mr. President is the number one brand ambassador, taking this message around the world. We saw him talking to Nigerians in diaspora at as part of his engagement at the UN General Assembly to come home with their skills and also impart their skills on others. So skills development is very important, and the government needs to up it up. The youth also need to be ready so that collectively we can see how to move Nigeria forward.
So what are the key skills and competence that are currently in demand right now?
If we look at some of the top earners in the world today, you realize that their skills lean towards information and communication technology. So you realize that that's a very key thing to do, ICT. So ICT skills, and these are things that are quick to go. With your mobile phone, with your laptop, with just a device, you could reach the world and you could become something. You could be passing a message, you could be an advocate, you could produce software. We've seen people, innovators, come up with apps that serve very well. And some of them are raking in billions. We've seen mobile banking leaning on ICT skills and so on. Yes, Flutterwave and all of them, they are there.
Coming to my next question, how can the education system be reformed so that it can be better aligned with skills that are needed for the growth of the economy?
Yes, in the academic, they say when the town meets the gown, productivity thrives, right? So there needs to be a very strong connect because we are faced with challenges as a country now and presently so. But at the gates of these challenges also lie opportunities. And nothing better eliminates the mind than education. But if we're educated on the wrong path or maybe just on the path of self-sustenance, okay, we want to get jobs, then the education becomes useless. The education has to be tailored in a manner, like we've stated, that should be geared at productivity. So those who are studying agriculture in the university, we should have our universities of agriculture having mass farms, enterprises, not just demonstration farms, farms that can feed states and regions. We should have those who are into technology. Yes, into technology. We should see them producing most of our automobiles, spare parts, and so on and so forth. Possibly even getting vehicles out, armored vehicles, and so on and so forth. So our universities should not just be a place to churn out degrees to say, okay, this has a first class or a second class upper. Our universities should be a place that is geared at it. In short, there should be a very strong partnership. This partnership we talked about between the Ministry of Labor and Employment and the Ministry of Trade and Investment. It should be injected into the university system so that even if you study sociology, you should be able to trade your sociology skills. If you studied philosophy, you should be, it is a skill. Yes, it must not be a skill in terms of producing or something. You are educated to solve a problem. So the educational system needs to look at the fact that it should be geared at an endpoint, and that endpoint is productivity, so that the economy can thrive, so that the society will be balanced, and so that Nigeria as a country will be on a forward voyage. We are 63 years now, and we are not babies as a country again. Nations have advanced and nothing hinders us. We are at the point where we have some of the best crop of leaders, leaders who have been finessed in every sense of the word, been governors, been legislators. The president has been a senator, has been a governor, he has governed the state and did creditably well. He has been a seasoned administrator. The president of the Senate has also been a governor, and in his time, we know him with the sobriquet, the uncommon governor and the uncommon minister, and now he is the Senate president. So we have people who are experienced. Now, these experiences, the youth and the government, there needs to be a meeting point so that it can catalyze productivity. The skills that we are talking about will be developed, and these skills will be channeled towards making Nigeria great. The goal and the aim should be to put Nigeria to compete in the front lines in the Committee of Nations. If we look at countries that have developed or have advanced, what are the factors that brought them to where they are? Can we glean a lesson or two from them? It must not be practicing everything they did hook, line, and sinker, but we could pick a little here, pick a little there, and then derive our own very unique models.
Wow, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So we're talking about the government, the government, the government. What about the private industries? How do they come to play? How can they collaborate with educational, system in order for them to also bridge that gap?
Now, you see, why we emphasize on government is because government is the big bastion of policies, programs, and even projects. Howbeit, industrialists, we've seen in developed countries where the fund researchers and so on and so forth. And I think on some scale, some of our major industrialists, they have endowments in our universities where the fund. But what we should do is to see how these industrialists, these firms that are productivity firms, engage more with the youth in this tertiary institutions to the extent that they have identified a workforce even before these young men and women graduate from their institutions of learning. And so that at the end of the day, we have people who can fit into the industry properly. I'll give you an instance. The Dangote refinery today is being celebrated, and it's been the talk for years now. It was launched by the erstwhile president, I think, sometime in May, and productivity will start shortly. A lot of people are working there. But from the records we have, most of them are Indians. And we are told that Nigerians do not have that skill. Is it that it is only Indians that can have it? Is it that the nerve cells of the brain is tailored for only Indians? We've got the same nerve cells. We've got the same blood running in our brain, in our veins. So we can do it if we are trained. So Dangote should go into the universities.
I think this is a story for another day, because of time. And I know you, Mr. Solomon, you have so much information. And then when they say the youth advocate is here, I am very sure you want to fight for the youths. You want to talk about, unemployment, how we can, get the youth to have jobs under so many organizations. We will have to bring you back to talk more on this. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. And to all the youth of Nigeria, we urge you to remain peaceful, to remain law-abiding. Nobody should bring you out on the streets for needless protests, uprisings against the nation. It is only a peaceful nation that can guarantee productivity.
Well, we've been discussing skills development for the nation, for our nation growth. And this is 63 years anniversary for Nigeria. I know we can do a lot and we can get the youth to do a lot. We can do it. We're going to short break and we'll be right back.